to Heart Conversation, another episode with a beautiful lady here. And my name is Yolanda Mahayeng, and I am with my sister here, a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. She's going to introduce herself. But before that, thank you so much for subscribing, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for your comments and liking the videos that we have before. If you haven't, and this is the first time watching a video, please go back and watch other videos so that you can connect with all my guests that I've been having here. And also you can also leave your comment, and if you want to share your story as well, please email us. There's an email address that you'll see at the end of the video, and please share your story. Here I have a sister of mine, a loving and beautiful sister, Umarungu. She's gonna introduce herself because I don't want to miss anything, so that everyone can get a bit of her. As she always say, a bit of me. A little bit of me and you, yes.
You always find me.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. It's been very, thank you for inviting me first, I must say, and your family. It's a very honor, honestly. My name is Marungu Machisa. But before I got married, I was Mkomboti. I always mention my surname because it used to be one of the funniest at high school. Mkomboti and secondary. Pity, I never drank my surname. I drank it a bit. But yeah, my name is Marungu Machisa. I'm growing up actually from Guguletu. I was born in Guguletu. Cape Townian, yes. But I think what I like about me, I also grew up in Eastern Cape. When I was the age of 4, I moved to Eastern Cape, and then I've done my substandards at that time, I guess. Standard to sub-A. I've done them at Somo and all that, and then I came back to Cape Town to reunite with my parents. I was doing standard 6, so basically that's where I am. So I got hold of the name of Machisa when I got married.
Yes, when you found, yes. When he found you.
When he found me.
Yes.
We will talk about that. I'm very controversial.
Okay.
Yes.
You're this lady, this beautiful lady. I can't even remember when we met, like personally, because every time when I get to see her, it feels like we've been sitting for hours, because she's full of wisdom, and she's gonna share this wisdom with us today, so that we know your journey, you know, and who is Marungu, you know, the person that I fell in love with, you know, the person that that attracted I was like, we connected, you know, we had this bond, because I love people that give wisdom. I love to drink, you know, and I love, you know, learning. I love learning more and more and more, because I cannot rely on my own on wisdom, you know, because I know God uses anything, can use anyone, you know. So when it's the time to receive, you know, I grab that moment. And please share what I always receive with everyone, you know, your journey. Who is Marungu? Who is Marungu? Who is this lovely person, the personality that I always see, the real, that person that gives us, what is life?
What is life? It's interesting, because actually I started realizing the real me in the last 4 years of the current 4 years. And before I thought I knew myself. I think that's one of the things that we, as people, sometimes we think that we know ourselves, but I've picked up that the minute you get born, as in giving birth physically, you already been given an identity. Someone else has already told us, she's a girl, she's a boy, her name is Marungu, or my other name was Ntombozuko, which is, I'm still using it. So there's that, and then now let's buy a pink, let's buy a blue, let's buy a, you know. So you've already been put on a certain channeling of life, and then the next thing, let's raise it up. I've seen how even I'm raising my kids now, let's do this. So someone else is already incorporated in your identity. So I think, and you don't have a choice at that stage. So the more I grow up, I think it came out on its own, because I think I was always been in touch with myself, because I think firstly I knew who I am, to the point up to today. The decision now, when I'm reflecting now, I've made because some of them I wanted to. And normally when you are in that stage, you're not even popular because society raised you. That is a fact. So which is that's fully almost 60% of your identity has been taken from the society. So it's very easy for you to fall into that. So your 40%, you kind of ignore it for some certain stage of your life, not because you want to sometimes, but because the society, which is including your parents, it's including your teachers, it's including your friends. So, and you also want to confirm in the society, you don't want to be an outcast. So it's very easy for you to stay in that 60%. It is acceptable, there's nothing wrong about it, but it's just that when you are having a certain vision or a calling in your life, it always nudges you that I'm not enough with the 60%. What's happening with my 40%, which is normally I would say that 40%, it's yours.
Sure.
You need to own it. This is where your identity basically is. But I think it's very necessary, as I'm saying, that you need to blend in the society, because you cannot confirm that you have a calling if you are not even in touch with the society.
Sure.
So it's necessary to learn all these cliques and things that are happening, which is you get to grow up, you get to get hurt, you get to do things that you don't want to do, or do things that you want to do. Other people are fortunate, they get to do things on time that they want to do it. And unfortunately, I was not one of them. So I grew up like that. In my teenagehood, it's always about me trying to find a voice for myself. How I chose my university. My mom never wanted me to go to vets, and I applied to vets, and then I think she hid the results. I personally went to UCT and applied with my mouth.
Wow.
When I went to the university, I said I didn't apply because I wanted to go to vets, and vets didn't take me, and they said the schools are closed. And then I went to the dean of faculty of UCT. I said I want to study, and then they said to me, but you didn't apply. I said I'm gonna wait for you. I stayed in that office until 4 o'clock, and I got my place with my mouth, you know. Because I knew what I wanted, and someone else wouldn't want to do that.
Like I'll be so scared to do that actually.
Exactly. So I think it's one of those things that you allow your identity to start speaking to you. And then, but at that time I didn't even know whether it's identity or what. I was just saying, this is what I want to do, you know, and I believe in it. And I remember my mother says to me, you're not going to stay in a res, you're going to stay in the house. And I'm thinking at that time, she doesn't know that I already went to the res and asked to stay, you know. So that's how my journey has been.
Growing.
I've learned not to just to knock, I also learned to grab what I want if it doesn't come naturally, which is, strangely enough, God has got a funny way of doing things with me. I grab. And so I remember when I got born again, it was like, I think that was so long time ago, I think 96 or 9, now it was 98. And I remember telling to the pastor that, you know what, before I can commit to this, I discuss anything that I know that is a life-changing for me. I said, I don't want to change who I am. And then he says to me, what do you mean you don't want to change? I said, I've seen Christians changing who they are.
Sure.
And that's not what I want. I want God to accept me as who I am, so that I can be able to fulfill what He wants me to do.
Sure.
And at that time, imagine, I didn't even know what does it mean to have a relationship with God. I grew up in a church, having that. Actually, I never allowed myself to do the whole thing, which is, I don't have a problem with it, but I was still not thinking this is me. So, strangely enough, yeah, at His People in 1998, I said to the pastor, I want to do this, but let's talk. Which is, for him, he was like, what do you mean? You know, almost like, say, altar call, come in and all that. I said, no, let's talk. Well, what I'm putting myself into this. And then he explained me, luckily Pastor Pete, he explained it to me in a way that I understood. And then I said to him, as long as you understand that, I am not going to change who I am. And I think that has been constant in my Christian walk. That is why I felt I'm free to do things that I want to do while I'm still a Christian. I mean, I'm controversial in a very maybe good way, and I think the messages that I've shared to people of my journey is because of the realness that I am, the authenticity, because I'm not doing it for God, I'm doing it with Him. That's another thing I've
You're
learned
not doing
about.
it to impress Him.
Yes, most of the time we live for God, not with Him. So, and which is, I find it very difficult, because now you're going to try to impress Him, you're going to try to show off, you're going to try to, don't know, which is, you are not you. Goes back to the identity. So, and in His words, I knew you before you were created in your mother's womb. So why now I'm trying to tell Him who I am, whereas He already knew me. For me, that's how I grounded my walk in life. That He knew me, so I don't need to fake. I don't need to create another persona of me. I need to be who I am. Then He will tell me, and He always does, but no, you are getting overboard. I'm like, okay, sorry, you know. So yes, so this is how my journey has been. From growing up, I grew up in the streets of Kukuletu. Then I went to varsity at UCT. Then I broke off at UCT and I went to UWC. I got actually, what do you call it? I forgot this English name, where they kick you out of the university. I failed and I went to UWC to finish what I wanted to do. And I think this is where my work started actually. And from there I went to become a pastor, a trainee pastor at His People during the UCT era. And I enjoyed it because I think I was doing what I want. And I think the people that are seeing Marungo now, it's actually what has happened before. And now I'm just reaping my, like, I wouldn't say my, like, I'm reaping the fruits that have been, yeah. So I don't know if I'm answering who I am.
Yes, actually you went over. Yes, and then you went to UCT, and after UCT you went to work, you know. And how was the life after the journey, the experiences that you had, you know, that you can share with us?
Yes, I went actually after UCT, actually at UWC, when I finished, I went to work for Home Choice. I think I was like, no, this is not me, that's not what I want. And then I went to do another stand at Edgar's. This is closer to the time when I was about to meet my husband. I remember I was going to Joburg. My mother is a very strict person, so you can't just go in. I mean, imagine I was already in varsity, staying on my own, and then I needed to tell her that I'm going to varsity, to Johannesburg to visit a friend who was getting married. So she was not taking none of it, but I think my mind, I already made up my mind I'm going. Because first I was not going to ask money from her. So again, you see that push of your identity, or actually your journey, that you kind of push it yourself, somehow. So my mother, I think somehow she knew that I'm going, but it was just the courtesy of also respect to tell her that I'm not missing. So I went there, and then on my way back, that's when I met my husband, to go back to what you said. And then I approached him. He was in a bus eating a pie. And then it was a quite rare thing, and I said hi, and apparently I was so lost, and I started talking to him. And I think when I approached him, actually I was not even attracted to him, but I just wanted to talk to someone because my friend was moody in the bus. So I was like, I'm not going to take this journey for 12 hours more than to Cape Town, not talking. So he was the first victim, unfortunately. And we chatted. I don't even remember taking his name, knowing his name. And then when I arrived in Cape Town, my brother and my dad came to pick me up, and he assumed my brother is my boyfriend. So he disappeared without numbers and anything. At that time, we don't even have cell phones and all that. I think he had a cell phone. Me, I'm not sure. Then I remember when I went to my friend, I told my friend that there's this guy that I met in the bus. For them, it was a shocker because they already termed him, I'm known as about Mother Teresa and Nan, kind of, you know. And then they said, what do you mean you met a guy? Like, tell us about him. I'm like, no, that's the thing. I don't even know his name. I don't know where he stays. I'm like, you playing. I said, you know what? If I meet that guy again, he will be my husband.
Okay, wow, you declared it.
And
Like
without
declaring.
even thinking, I was like, now if guys really, I met this guy and he looks like so, he will be my husband. And I'm thinking, that what are the chances in Cape Town? It's so big. I even forgot where he said that he's working. I think at that time he did mention he's working in the Navy. And I was having a thing with Joburg guys. I'm like, no, and there's a Sutu, oh, no, you know. So fast forward 7 months down the line, my sister was staying in Somerstown, married in Somerstown. Then this guy approaches me, he's like, hi, do you remember me? I'm like, no. And he said to me, in the bus, he was so excited, I've been looking all over for you. I went to Edgar's. You said you're working at Edgar's. I said, no, when I arrived, I resigned. And they said to me, but I didn't know where else to search. And then here you are. And he demanded my number. I'm like, I don't give strangers the number, but I'm not a stranger. I'm like, no. He was so shocked because I'm the one who approached him in the bus, but now I'm like, no. But eventually my sister gave the guy the number because he was there. And that's how we started. The relationship, I think, started a year later. So, but it goes back again that you need to declare what you want. Internally, emotionally, or in whatever way, but you just need to declare. So that's marriage part of life, or how my dating part. And then I got married, and this is the most interesting journey for me because immediately when I got engaged with him, I got raped in a train.
Sure.
And it kind of could have turned things around for me because I didn't want anything. Actually, I'm not a very bigger person when it comes to white weddings. My husband is a white wedding person, so I think for some reasons that rape changed, actually confirmed that I'm not going to do the white wedding because I was not ready, firstly emotionally. So it was a traumatic thing for us for almost a year. I didn't want my fiance even to touch me.
Sure.
And he waited.
Wow.
For me. And we continued, and I said, I don't want to explain to my family. My family were mad at me, but I think they've learned at that time that I do things the way that I want. So I said, I'm not doing the white wedding. We're just going to get married. Lobolas, everything came, and then we asked the uncles that we're just going to do the home affairs and prayed in church. And it was weird for people, but for me it was honestly not weird. Because I think at that time I already learned that I do things the way that I want to do.
And at that time you are not even healed.
No.
So you're not really celebrating your moment.
No. I never had a chance to celebrate that moment because it just happened just a few months, or I think few weeks or months, I can't remember, after I got engaged. So for me it was like, really, you know. And we went through that. I went through that as well. At some stage I even forgot to ask him how is he going through it because it did affect him. I mean, this is a precious person to his life, and most of the time also is the victims that, which is I don't refer myself as one, we stay in that victim stage so much that we even forget the people around that were victims as well. Especially your husband or your partner and all that, which is most of relationships, they don't survive there. And at some stage I expected mine wouldn't. But I think because of the way that I handle things, it's not popular, but it works for me. Then I decided, no, this person is not going to define my life. He violated my privacy, but he cannot violate my future. That was this decision that I've made on the spot. Immediately I pulled those pens up. I said, no, I'm not going to allow this. I'm pulling these pens up, so is my life. I don't know how. It was in a train, and when I got in that train, I didn't know what was happening. So I actually normally got in that train. I was working as a pastor at his people, a training pastor at that time at his people. So I used to carry a book with me, any kind of a book. Actually, I think I was reading Moses and poem. That's the thing about me. You will find me reading scriptural books and all that. I read everything, so I need to know the people that I work with more than the one that I'm with. So, which is in this case Christians. So I was reading, I can't remember which book, but I was so swamped on it, which is, I was so used to that, and there used to be about 4 or 5 people in the train, in the carriage. But that day I didn't notice that there was no people. I don't know what got into me. So I got in and I said, the next thing I'm hearing something in my bag. I thought maybe it's a chair. It's a steel of a chair. And I'm like, no man, there's a person moving. And I'm saying, he said, don't turn. And then he said to me, I said, okay, fine, there's my ring. I had my engagement ring. There's my ring, there's my band, and there's a phone there.
Oh.
Then he said to me, no, I don't want that. Take off your pants. So for me, I already knew where is this going, and I tried to negotiate. This is when I realized that Woodstock and Salt River was the longest route for a train. I thought it was the shortest, but that day it was the longest for me. Because I'm like, when is this train getting into Salt River? But eventually I took off my pants, and when he was just penetrating me, the train stopped. Okay, then the train stopped. Then I knew that I needed to decide what is my life out of here, because I felt him and I know this happened. So from there, I think all my life I've been pulling my pants up. All my life I've been pulling my pants up. That moment I told myself it should never define me. So I think that's why I'm saying that to identify yourself, it goes in stages in your life. You cannot identify yourself as when you were born. It goes with gender, because things happen and people, I think, they forget that. So from there I got married under the cloud. But our marriage flawed. We made our mistakes. I mean, in other series I'll share with you. We'll have a stage where we talk about marriage, but I got married and I got kids. How I'm raising my kids again could be questionable, but I do things the way that I want. There's a time where I took a break on church, and society said, why are you not going to church? When I got sick, I took a break. And I said, I need to deal with this the way that I know and the way that I understand. It was not making a sense to other people, my friends, my family. Why don't you go to church? I said, it's not about church. It's God. My God is inside, and right now I need to deal with this without showing off. I'm not here to try to please people. I lost my job. I lost everything. I lost assets. You were there at that stage. I lost my assets. I lost my dignity. But here I am. Anything else I thought I owned, I lost it. But the only thing that was left was me. You must always remember that anything can go, but you must always have you. Always have you. Wherever you go, always have you. That you can never be able to lose. You choose to lose yourself. I keep on saying to people, but if this person did this to me, you wanted that. Yes, you didn't ask for that, but you choose. You must never lose yourself. So that's the only thing that is left for me was me. And that me is the one that made me to fight back for my life until today.
And that's the marungu that I love. You know, that marungu that gives hope in the midst of trials. The marungu that always motivates, you know, but she is hurting. You strengthen someone else, but you are hurting.
It's true.
Because I remember there was a time that the first time I went to your house, I think a friend of yours passed away.
Yes.
And I was like, this woman. Because I remember the only thing that I could do was to pray. Because I didn't know what to say to a person that motivates. You know, a strong person.
I think for me, actually, I'm not even a strong person. I normally don't even allow people to say I'm strong, because I think I've got strength. When you're having strength, you always you acknowledge that you have a weakness. You acknowledge that you are in your vulnerability. But when people perceive you strong, you break.
I think I would say it's the God that is in you.
I believe so too.
It's the God that is in you that I also got attracted to. You know, because the way you perceive yourself, you are a good representative of the kingdom, I would say. Yeah, please. George, another motivation, Jay, just to you know.
One thing I can say to people is that once you find your inner self, you is the one that will make you fight. We go through a lot of things. There are many things, and we cannot measure them according to what I went through. What I went through, somebody else went even more than what I went through.
Sure.
But always have a center that you can say, I'm fighting for this. At the moment, it doesn't look like it's going to work out, but have a center. The only thing that makes me to continue is to have a center. So have a center. When you fight, have a center. I'm not even talking about have a God or anything. I'm just saying have a center. Like when I was sick, my center was my children. When I was getting married and I got raped, my center was my marriage. That I want this marriage. I want this man. So things like that have a center. When I was going to varsity to apply, I said I want to study. That was my center. So each and every phase, check a center that will make you to be able to fight for your vision, for everything. I believe even with the show that you are doing is because you have a center. You had hiccups, but you had a center. So one of the messages that can come out of today, have a center. Thank you so much.
I am so motivated. I am so touched, and I feel like, a sleepover.
Yeah, I feel like it's even shorter.
Like we wear pajamas, we get so relaxed.
We should do that.
Yes,
we should.
Yes,
We should actually. Even me not dressing up like this one in front of the camera.
And then
I'm like, we
relax,
chat.
But it's a conversation.
It's the first time for me to do this, so I think I hope I did it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your wisdom.
Pleasure.
Thank you for your time and sharing a bit of you. Your heart, because that's what we love. That's what I love. To get to someone else's heart and to be in your shoes, and also at the same time to learn from you. Thank you for that, for your willingness.
It's my pleasure. It's been long overdue. I know.
Let's not even go there. I hope you enjoyed our conversation, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you reflected to your life that you are not alone, and life happens.
Yes.
And as long as we learn from what happens to us, that whatever happens is there to make us stronger.
Yes.
Or to pull our pants.
To pull our pants.
That you stay tall. You stand for whatever that you believe in. As you said that you must have your center.
Yes.
That whatever that you are going through, pull your pants.
Yes.
Don't lose yourself. And have a center as. I have my notes in my mind. I've learned something. Thank you so much, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share, yes, and like this video, and make sure that please share your story. If you want to be part of this conversation here, send your request. There's an email address at the bottom of the screen. Then we can talk and we have this conversation so that you can share your testimony, you can share your story, and impact. It's all about impact.
Yes,